everybody, Zeidoktor here, and this episode of Typical Manga Review is going to be dedicated to Attack on Titan, Chapter 93, Midnight Train. And they open up pretty much on what is a debriefing of the most recent of the attack from the last chapter. Basically going over the fact that we spent 4 years embroiled in a war over the peninsula's autonomy, but then the enemy battleships and two of our chief titans ended up in a sudden disgraceful brawl. The only reason you were somehow able to sink the Allied fleet was because the armor selflessly put himself in harm's way, Zeke. And he's reading from the paper here, that human intelligence has at last reached a point where it is able to crush Marley's armor into dust. That's how all the other countries are reporting it, extolling the Mid-East Iron Allied forces. So, do you think you could call this a victory for the great nation of Marley? My God, how do you explain this? And Magatha's Major would point out that the time has come at last when humanity surpasses the power of the Titans. The majority of this war was fought through naval engagements, leaving no way for our Titan forces to intervene. If you were simply to compare our naval capabilities, the Allied forces have some of the newest and most powerful battleships, while ours are outdated weapons that rely on sheer material advantage. Which makes the point on one side, so our navy is like an unruly mob. And that's why we're in our current situation? Is that what you're saying? But the guy explains that I believe the fundamental issue is something else. The power of Titans made us complacent, and those chickens have come home to roost. That's all there is to it. While putting all our faith in the power of the Titans and pursuing our colonial policies, other countries who could have never hoped to have that power work to develop weapons able to oppose it. We are now being faced with the simple consequences of this fact. And while the Titan forces should remain unrivaled in ground engagements for the moment, as aircraft development continues at the pace it has been, except that bombs hundreds of kilograms in size will come raining down on us someday. And then look up the building they're holding the briefing in, which actually has no roof anymore. And that day comes, the skies will become the main stage of which the war is fought. And the Titans will only be able to look up and watch. One guy idly wonders, we don't have any Titans with wings, do we? And Margot points out, what he's trying to explain is they can no longer rely on the Titans. I know that. We'll soon lose the initiative we have in war. No, it's worse. We've already fallen behind. Once we were Marley, a nation of heroes who defeated the Eldian devils. But now, look at what we've become. At this point, Zeke intervenes. Now, more than ever, is the time for us to resume the Paradis Island operation and retake the founding Titan as soon as possible. Which gets them wondering if Zeke heard a word they said. Marley has no future if we continue to rely on the Titans. Yes, you're exactly right, Commander. Going forward, Marley must focus its efforts on the development of conventional weapons. But does that mean we must sit back silently in the face of enemy nations until we reach an adequate level of scientific progress? What we need now is time to fill the void of reorganization our army will create. And what that calls for is a headline in every newspaper as soon as possible saying that Marley has occupied Paradis and has the power of all the Titans in our hands. And the guy points out that Zeke's saying this, but he has a less than a year in his turn. Yes, and I am very anxious about whether or not Colt can inherit the full powers of my beast. Which this guy, alright, so you want to use the last year of your life to get revenge for what happened 4 years ago. Yes, pretty straightforward about that. The only one who ought to bring an end to that detestable wonder Grisha Jaeger is me, his former son. Yes, ever the boy wonder. I never once doubted the loyalty you displayed by selling out your own parents as a child. I'll take your advice and raise it as a point of discussion during our party talks. Then, after the meeting is done, the guys, Zeke talk to the younger man there, Colt, usually as a pretext. Oh no, that was incredible, and Eldian having his opinion heard by a Marley in general. It's an honor to have played any part in that. And also what he said was true. I want to be able to replace the current Beast Titan. You're special, Mr. Zeke. Our comrades have been given your spinal fluid, are able to turn into Titans by your roar, and they listen to your commands, and they can even move around at night so long as the moon is out. No other Beast Titan in history has had those powers. It's practically what the legends say the Fountain Titan could do. why is that you're so special, Mr. Zeke? Notice you have royal blood in your veins. like, and Zeke doesn't mention it either. Like, apparently there's a Titan society that studies these things that doesn't have any ideas either. We'll probably never know till the day I die. No. Um, but he tells Colt that he'll be inheriting his memory, so he might just find out about his secret. You might just find out about my secret. Your secret. And as someone else is coming up here, like, yeah, about the way I wipe my ass, it's special. I have to keep it to yourself. Like, it's too late. You're telling me everything. The guy says, Margath. A full report down to the number of hairs on your ass. Are you trying to say aliens need privacy? Like, and the actual talk discussion actually kind of talks here. Also, I noticed I'm only just noticing now. Margath makes Colt light a cigarette for him. Let's see here, I'm trying to think of where to proceed on here. So Margath kind of talks to Zeke about what happened at the meeting and say, so you're saying you can take down Paratus down in a year? I'm saying I only have a year left. Like 3 years, not a single search fleet we sent towards Paratus has come back. Okay, so first of all, this kind of confirms our time skip as 3 years for story. In 3 years, 32 ships, including destroyers, have disappeared there. Zeke, what do you make of that? And Zeke's opinion is that the forces of Paratus possess 4 Titans. The Founding Titan, the Colossus Titan, the Female Titan, and the Attacking Titan. It's likely that the Founder and the Attacker Titan are both inside of Eren Yeager, but the Colossus and Female are still unknowns. All they know for sure is that if they had died, then babies with their powers should have been born, but no such children have been discovered here on the continent. Which creates the possibility that 4 Titans are being used on the island of Paratus. That seems odd to Colt because that means they're passing down their Titans, but Reiner's report didn't suggest they had that ability. But Zeke points out that Reiner doesn't know everything that was going on there, and that's just a possibility. All this started 22 years ago when the Owl. This is just like a little bit of a recap here about how the Owl snuck the Attacking Titan in and Grisai Jaeger onto the island. Now the glowing embers they scattered seem to have set the whole island ablaze. The Fritz family had changed its name to Rice and made a commitment to non-resistance, but then their king was eaten by the Attacking Titan and taking everything from him, including the knowledge of how to pass down the Titan. Here's my opinion, Commander. They were able to sink 32 ships. Not a single one could get away. It's hard to believe a single Titan could do that. There must have been at least 2 Titans, including Eren Yeager, blocking the survey ships. And indeed, in the we get a panel of Eren in Titan form and a colossal Titan, Armin, both just kind of standing there and staring down at the ocean. And Margath agrees that the Titan is going to require battleship support. And the Titans are not the only enemy threat. Like, they have a force of flying freaks who wear strange contraptions and arm themselves with swords and bombs in both hands. Weapons designed for the sole purpose of killing Titans. And Zeke notes that his own failure stems from underestimating those weapons. And there's a line once thought to exist only in legends told by the royal family, the Ackerman clan, byproducts of Titan science. At least 2 members still seem to be there. I mean, honestly, I never want to meet them again. And indeed, we see a bit of what seems to be like a dream or flashback of there, which shocks Reiner out of his own sleep. And as he kind of wakes up, yelling, like, the guy next to him is Galliard's like, I sound like you're having a nice dream, so I decided not to wake you up. Reiner thanks Galliard for saving his butt earlier. I owe you one. No, you don't. It wasn't you I saved. I just saved my motherland of Marley from losing the armor as a result of you screwing up. Anyway, none of this would have happened if they chose me for the Paratus operation 9 years ago, and let me inherit the armor. My brother never would have protected you before getting himself eaten by a random Titan. Reiner wonders if he was able to see Marcel's memories, but nope. I haven't gotten to see you run off and abandon him yet, unfortunately. But I was able to understand a bit about my predecessor, that woman named Ymir. Pathetic woman who'd been given a grand name. And she confirms that she volunteered to give back Marcel's jaws, right? She did. And indeed, we see a panel of Ymir, like chained up the way Aaron had been back in the underground cave, looking pretty much dead to the world, which she presumably now is. So Galliard asks, what they even did by that on that island to get rescued by one person. You just got rescued by one person after the next. And Ryder does not disagree. I saw you through her memories. What was with you? You acted like some kind of strong, reliable figure. It was almost like you were trying to imitate Marcel. Which Reiner says is exactly right. Everything you're saying is exactly right. At which point a woman comes in, telling Pock that he shouldn't be bullying someone who just took artillery fire. And that's when Galliard gets mad, like, you shouldn't call me by my... Didn't I tell you not to call me by that name, Piek? And we see a woman kind of walking in on crutches, who they wonder if she's okay, and it turns out like the reason she's on crutches is because it's been 2 months since the last time she turned back into a human. She forgets how to walk on two legs every time that happens. And with this, we pretty much have the confirmation that this woman is the pack mule Titan, the cart Titan. Now, Titan, that's a bad Titan. And she tells Rainer if she can get up, he can get him walk around. He should show his face to Gabby and the others. And they point out like Gallagher says like it feels like he hasn't seen her in forever, even though they've been together on the battlefield this whole time. Well, either way, hopefully they are hoping she'll be able to rest for a while. Meanwhile, we have our youngsters here, wondering if Titans become obsolete, what's going to happen to them in the warrior unit, or what's going to happen to the Eldians in general. Now, to the side, off in the distance, they see prisoners kind of being led away, like loaded onto a boat. Udo confirms that they're transporting traumatized enemy soldiers. Like these are the soldiers that survived being attacked by pure Titans. Once they go back to their country, they'll be used as mascots to show the whole world how humane Titan weaponry is, only putting us Eldians in an even worse position. This gets him frustrated. Udo starts kicking things, but that's when Reiner pops up. And one thing, and he greets them all, and Gabby's especially excited to see him. And with that, apparently she's excited because Gabby's excited because they get to go back to headquarters in Rebellio, which seems an ironic name. So they decided to go running around town till then. Don't give me chances like this. And he pretty much just kind of takes him out, and it gives Reiner like a little unpleasant flashback of, I guess, them as kids, or back when they first went to Paratus. And then later on the train, we're getting a celebration here. Everybody's like singing the praises of Gabby. Hope every one of you saw us. You went alone in the place of 800 of our comrades. Nothing but a cluster of grenades. He faced off against the armored train and stood her ground. Why'd you do something that stupid, you big dummy? The guy's obviously drunk. Do you know who this idiot risked her life for? Well, I know. She did it for the sake of the new alien warriors. They're all getting all hyper and excited on there. The Marlene coach are like, we should set them up. Let's close our eyes to it. Give them this one night. And the current sifters are like, in kind of like, okay. I think Pig actually seems kind of pleased about it, but it's hard to tell. And then they've got Gabby on one guy's shoulder. They're just chanting her name. I see Falco and Rainer kind of watching this, like, they need to stop giving cold drinks. Gabby gets carried away so easily too. Still, it seems like Gabby will be the one to inherit the armor. Yeah, you only have 2 years left in your term. If everything keeps going this way, and that girl who idolizes you over there ends up inheriting the armor, Gabby will live to be 27, as if she doesn't become the target of artillery strike first. Falco asks Reiner if that's okay with him. Like, excuse me? What did you just say? Inheriting one of the 9 Titans is an honor. Did you just speak ill of it? I'll have to report this to the unit at once. Even if I didn't, anyone who heard that would inform you on you without a second thought. Then Colt won't just have his right to inherit the beast stripped from him. You, along with your relatives, will join the ranks of the Titan weaponry. The next Titans will be dropped out of a plane will be you and the rest of your treasonous family. But wait. Let me correct myself. I, warrior candidate Falco Grease, devote all the blood that will ever run through me to Marley. That pretty much just like Rainer basically gets him to start spouting the party line. And what do you think about the honor of inheriting one of the good Titans? And it ends with Rainer asking, like, do you want to inherit the Armored Titan? And Falco declaring that he will inherit the Armored Titan. That's right, and the only way you'll be able to protect Gabby is if you can surpass her. If you're going to rescue Gabby from the dark, dark future we face. And that is where the chapter ends. And this is like a big old heavy exposition chapter, so that's why I had to do a lot of reading on that one. I'm not going to hear. I don't know yet if we're going to stay with Marley for much longer, but this did at least clear up a few things for me personally. Like, for example, it confirms that the time skip has actually been 3 years, which is one thing I wondered about. Like, how much time has actually passed? We also know that Zeke is near the end of his life, and Reiner's got another extra year on top of that. And one thing that's giving us more and more of a timeline. That Galliard seems to be the youngest of the current shifters, courtesy of the fact that he's got the Jaws Titan, or as it's apparently truly known to us, the Dancing Titan. I'm gonna start keeping track of that when I start watching the season 2 anime and Amir pops up as a shifter. See what the resemblance is. But yeah, so that kind of confirms what Amir herself expected when she sent that letter to Astoria a while back. She is dead. She's got some of her memories are in Galliard now, but it's about it. Galliard seems to be kind of resentful of everything that's happened because his brother was the guy Amir ate. And I think Schreiner's the one who basically like let it happen, or at least blamed him for it. And I do like that. How there's little bits. One thing I did like about this is all the little bits of information or suggestions, like things that show us like what they do or don't know or what they think they know. Like Zeke knows that they've got at least 4 Titans, but he doesn't know for sure which ones are actually active. So, for example, he may not necessarily know about what happened to Annie. Well, actually, no, they would know what happened to Annie because Rainer and Berthold were there. But at the very least, they know for a fact they've got at least 2, maybe more. 3 active technically because Aaron's got 2 of them. So that was kind of a neat little thing, and it sounds like nobody realizes like Zeke's actual heritage, other than maybe Zeke himself. And Zeke seems to be determined to just like finish this. He wants to destroy everything Grisha stood for while he's still alive to try and do so. So whatever happens here, there's definitely going to be a kind of a conflict between him and Aaron at this point. There's no question. Excuse me. I'm sorry. There's no question about that. I'm trying to think here. So we definitely see like just how far the propaganda train goes on this, like where apparently they've been taught that inheriting the 9 Titans is like the highest honor they can have in service to Marley. Despite the fact that everybody hates them and sees them as monsters precisely for that reason. And I said, one thing that struck me is like just how tiny Gabby and them actually are compared to Reiner. I knew they were young, I just didn't occur to me they were that young. So their heights are just like, okay, they are tiny people. And it definitely seems that among the rank and file, the actual Titan shifters, the actual are more or less on the level of heroes for this to them. So I don't know if we'll stay with Marley. I can see us staying with Marley for another chapter or so, because if nothing else, we've got the whole thing with Falco and Gabby. Like, Falco wants to surpass Gabby so he can have the armor and keep her out of it, while Gabby is bound and determined to get the armor for herself. And it seems Reiner's would rather Colt Falco get it too. And apparently there's people who don't realize that the Beast Titan is a royal thing, which I said earlier, obviously, but still. And we also finally see the face of the Pack Mule Titan. She's like the second woman among the Titan shifters so far. Third actually, because of Ymir. If there's anything else I want to bring up here while I'm thinking about it, so I'm sorry I'm being quiet on here, but nothing's coming to mind here. Like I said, get some nice little panels of, like, say, Aaron and Armin in Titan forms. Armin's colossal form is kind of scrawny. I don't know if that's because he's not used to it, or if there's something else going on there, but there you are. But yeah, like I said, I'm hoping we won't spend too much more time in Marley, because I do want to get back to Paratus and see what's going on there. Like, if they made any advances or any progress on how the different Titans work. But, because that was one thing Aaron was thinking about and worrying about before, like how to get that going with Historia. But, oh, actually, one last thing I almost forgot about. Like, one big reveal is the whole thing about the Ackermans, apparently described as byproducts of Titan science. Wondering what we'll see about that. One thing's for certain, like, Zeke wants nothing to do with them anymore, not after getting his ass kicked by Levi. And Mikasa definitely left an impression on Reiner. But otherwise, I think I covered the essentials here. Like I said, I can see maybe one more chapter in Marley, but I don't know if it'll go by on that. That's going to be my prediction for the moment. No special highlights otherwise I can think of. But so we're going to go ahead and call the review here. That was Attack on Titan, chapter 93, Midnight Train. Till next time, see you later, and bye-bye.